Well, here we are, buyers. We're just coming into a place here today called, what's the name of your place?
Hogan's.
Place called Hogan's at Canoona. We're just going here now. It's around 2,000 acres. Go and have a look over the place. Little grazing block. Just looking here, buyers. That's the shed that's on the block. It's 30 foot by 20 foot, earth floor, but good enough to put a bit of gear in, and you could actually close it on three sides. You could close it on the other side and put a bit of a good door in there and have it lockable. But the vendor leaves a vehicle here all the time. This hole here, buyers, is it's part of a quarry, and now it's around about 15 foot deep, never goes dry, and very good, as you can see, very good water. Plenty of water, and trucks come in and get water tanks full of water out of it as well. It lasts right through every year. Just a general look at the type of country, buyers. It's all forestry lease, this country, but at the same time, you run around about 130 breeders here year round, and calves off as weaners, plus your replacement heifers, and that's a good tidy little operation. Give you a nice little income. Just going to drive in here now, buyers, and have a look at a mill and tank and trough, but this is a good little creek flat. There's creek flats and running back into likes of low gravel ridges sort of thing all around. Just to look at some of the cattle here on the water, buyers, just so you can sort of see the type of, they're just a line of breeders and calves off as weaners, and like all these sort of places that gives you a good little income. If you work it out on your breeder base and calves per your number of breeders, you'd find out to be quite a good little income coming in off the place. As you can see here, buyers, this little creek flat's been chewed out a little bit because the water's here. But you've got all these little creek flats like this running up through this country, and Plantain Creek, we'll go down that in a minute, real good creek flats and that running off that. So, you know, once it runs up into those bits of ridges where cattle can get up in the warm in the winter, but you've got your good flats and that running. Now, buyers, here we are here now. We're just coming in onto Plantain Creek. You can see beautiful big creek flats run back off either side of it, and a fair bit of country here floods, which is a good thing, running back off Plantain Creek, and at the end of the day it gives the country a good watering when the river does get into flood and or good downpour of rain. We'll just move forward and show you a bit more of the creek. As you can see, buyers, there's plenty of good country runs around this creek here. Plenty of water in the creek, but that's not permanent. They're not permanent holes, but good permanent water around it. But all this good creek flat in Plantain Creek, it's a renowned area for good feed and good cattle country. Even though it's open forest country, and the majority of the place got real good little pockets of country on the block. This is a good flat just running down away from Plantain Creek, running to the west of Plantain Creek. And you can see the country, I mean, you can get thinning permits to thin this country out. That'll be a good flat thinned out. Little runners and everything coming off the creek, and there's a good flat we're going to come up onto here now. I'll just drive down here and you can see beautiful big blue gum flat just in front of us here. Once again, that's where all that country in there floods from the creek and carries, once it floods, of course, then it'll build up the moisture content. But you can see what I'm talking about, nice flats running back off these creeks, and it goes back up then onto bits of ridges where cattle can get up in the wet weather and the dry weather. Just once again, now we're going to move around and going to head back this way over here. But as you can see, it's this creek flat. It's a big flat. I wouldn't ascertain. I reckon you got probably around it. What do you reckon? About 400 acres of flats here in this creek flat. We're going to head back up to a set of cattle yards just up here now. Well, here you are, buyers. This is the cattle yards on the place. As you can see, a good solid set of cattle yards. What would you have in there at one time? 130 head of cattle any one time, and all good solid cattle yards. Old set of yards, but good solid yards. certainly plenty enough to run a place like this and comfortably run it. This flat here, boys, is the flat that runs down away from the cattle yards, and as you can see, it's a good little flat. Good creek flats. There's real good creek flats run right through it, even though it might be forestry country, but by the same token, you can see the type of flats that are here, and with a thinning permit, you make these flats into something really good. I've shown you some of those ridges, low ridges there, gravel ridges, but in between there's all these little flats, and this is reminiscent of what I'm talking about. And this area here is white, and a lot of these flats are white, and you can treat them, timber treat them. But also too, I think if some of them are green, I think you'd get permits to thin out on those as well. Yeah, nice little flats. These are good, sweet little flats.